There he is.
Yeah,
February
yeah.
5th. He's back. It's been one time since we've seen you in the past few years, Keith Thurman, but back on PBC on Fox pay-per-view, Mario Barrios, Las Vegas. I'm fired the heck up, but you've been getting this question all training camp. Where the hell have you been, my friend?
Shoot, man, I've been in Florida, man, where everybody else is trying to get to. You know, we had everybody moving to Florida during this COVID pandemic, man. Uh, I just been hanging out, man, bunkered down. My wife had a pregnancy during COVID. Now we raising this beautiful young girl. So a little bit of a family man, but a lot of people think that I'm distracted because life is pulling me in different directions. But trust me when I tell you, I'm a fighter through and through. You know, I'm a warrior. I chose this path. Nobody chose this path for me. I'm excited just like you. It's right around the corner, man. You can see my cheekbones. You can see my face getting sunk in. You know, we about to make that weight, baby. You know, we've been pushing hard. We've had a great diet this camp. My Aunt Kim is just tremendous when it comes to the nutrition, when it comes to the circuit training and the strength training. There's many reasons. It's not just because I love her and she's family. There's many reasons why I bring that woman into my camp. She's militant, old school, reminds me of Ben Getty. It's that structure. Every fighter needs structure in their camp, and she brings that form of stability for me, where I don't have to rely on other people. My boxing team, we're very consistent when it comes to the gym. Dan is 70 years old now, but you can't tell it if you see him. You can't tell him when he's working the mitts. He's as fast as ever, and I just love it, man. We've been moving, we've been working hard, and we're getting ready for Mario Barrios, man. I'm looking forward to this fight. Looking forward to getting back into the ring. I want to see what this young man brings to the table. He wants to move up. He thinks he's going to be more comfortable at 147 instead of the weight drop down at 140. I'm still pulling, baby. I'm still stressing just a little bit, but I'm way more excited. I'm way more excited than I am stressed.
See, like we missed you. We missed you, Keith. Boxing has missed you. You're just 33 years old. It's not like you're over the hill. But you never would have guessed, I'd have to assume, that you would fight just once in the last, 2+ years, just twice in the last 5 years before that, injuries, COVID, and obviously congratulations on becoming a father. You know, when you look back to the fighter you were, 2014, 2015, calling out Mayweather, you obviously wouldn't have guessed you'd be at this point, but are you happy exactly where you are at this point? Still one of the best resumes in the welterweight division, still one of the biggest names you can fight.
Oh, definitely, man. You know, and that's why I can keep my head on right. You know, at the end of the day, Keith Thurman is still one of the biggest names in the welterweight division. My resume can go toe to toe with anybody. I'm still one of the most qualified fighters, with or without a belt. I'm a champion, and people know that. You know, so at the end of the day, we really just need to do what you want me to do, and that's get back in the ring. You know, get back to the ring, get back into action, and stay active. You know, a lot of things that have happened, they're not ideal. They're not something you put on your to-do list. Let me not be in the ring for 2.5 years. Let me have elbow surgery. Let me have bone fusion surgery. These aren't on the to-do list. You know, these are things that manifested in my life, in my career. These are some of the struggles that I've faced. But, you know, hurdles are put there to jump over and overcome, man. So these obstacles, I've overcome them. I feel great at the age of 33. I might have missed like 2 great years in my prime, but luckily we're still in our prime. And, you know, the one beauty of not being active is I haven't been getting beat up, right? I'm not taking unnecessary damage. True. That's something that, you know, not every boxer can say. The more active you are, the more risk that you're taking. With the risk comes the reward. And, you know, that's why we want to be back in action. We got plenty of great fights ahead of us. It starts right here. It starts right now. Next Saturday, February 5th, Mandalay Bay, Mario Barrios. Let's go.
Well, look, this matchup screams action. Barrios fresh off that big-time pay-per-view bout with Gervonta Tank Davis. He fought, courageous in defeat, brought it forth, really made a name for himself. When you saw his name as an option, what was the biggest attraction for you to fight Mario Barrios right now?
I mean, he's an ex-world champion, and, you know, anything that I was about to do off of a 2.5-year layoff, I thought was going to be, you know, critiqued one way or another. I think I was going to suffer criticism no matter what move I was going to make. And there weren't big names being offered, you know. The other fighters were respectable fighters, but they got like 4 losses on their record. So what does that do for Keith Thurman? You know, so what I liked about Mario Barrios is that he had the best record. You know, it was kind of simple in comparison to the other options that I was getting. I just don't think that I always want to make the best fight I can make at a certain time in my career. Back in 2019, I fought Jose Cito Lopez. That was after a 22-month layoff, right? A 22-month layoff. And then right after that, I brought one of the most exciting fights against Manny Pacquiao. And that's what I want to do this year. I want to take this fight, and then I want to fight one of these great champions. So, you know, that's on the to-do list. Mario Barrios wants to upset the welterweight division by stepping up, defeating Keith Thurman, making a name for himself in a new weight class. You know, he wants those champions. He wants to continuously be a pay-per-view fighter. And I don't underestimate anybody who's smaller. I don't underestimate anybody who's coming off of a loss, right? It reminds me of Victor Ortiz. Victor Ortiz got beat by Marcos Maidana. It was fight of the year that year. And then he came back and beat my buddy, great colleague, Andre Berto. You know, nobody thought that he was going to beat Andre Berto. When Victor lost, he was talking on the mic, boxing's not for me. I shouldn't take this kind of punishment. Block a right hand, Victor, and you won't take the punishment, okay? At the end of the day, he couldn't block a right hand for 2 minutes straight, and Maidana was devastating at that time of his career. But then when he actually got back in camp, what he said wasn't who he was. You know, his fighter spirit felt diminished in that loss. But once when he got back on the horse, he said, you know what, I am a champion. I'm going to show the world that I'm a champion. So I know that Mario Barrios was knocked down. I know that he suffered a defeat, but where is his head at? Coming to see Keith Thurman, there's no better test than the Thurman test next Saturday. Let's go see. Let's find out.
Keith, what was the hardest part about being out? Whether it was the first, 2+ year layoff or this most recent one because of everything we mentioned, injuries, COVID, fatherhood. When you hear other fighters putting their name in your mouth, I saw Gervonta Davis at one point say, oh, boxing is past Keith by. I saw Jaron Ennis say, Team Thurman's scared of us. We tried to fight him. They don't want to fight me. Is that the hardest part when you know you're just as good as a Thurman, or I'm sorry, as a Spence, as a Crawford, you're trying to get those fights? Does it kill you when other people are talking, saying Keith doesn't have the passion anymore, blah, blah, blah?
Look, man, I live this. Nobody's words can just deter me from being who I am, okay? Because I live this. I literally started boxing at the age of 7. I'm 33. That means that's 26 years in the game. You can talk about surgeries, you can talk about inactivity, but when you have the heart of a warrior like me, it always beats fight game, fight game, fight game. You know, at the end of the day, we all know most people don't know F about boxing, okay? And I know a lot of people don't know a lot of things about Keith Thurman. So if you don't know a lot of things, that means a lot of things that are coming out of your mouth are due to speculation, right? So how am I going to be intimidated from, somebody who doesn't have validity in their statements because they're opinions, Like I said, man, this is just the life that I chose for myself. This is how I've always provided for myself and my family. I love the sport of boxing. Just love it to death. It helped me as a young kid to stay focused. It gave me direction in life to not be in the streets. And, I'm just forever grateful to the sacrifices that Ben Getty made, teaching me everything about the sport from the age of 7 to the age of 20, 13 years before he passed away. He told me that I had everything that it takes to be a champion. He said, wait till they see you on TV, boy. Wait till they see you. Wait till they see that knockout power. He knew that he had an exciting fighter, not just a great fighter, but a really exciting fighter that could stimulate the sport of boxing. And that's what I'm all about. I'm the fighter who said, I'm not afraid to let it go. If you can beat me, beat me. I've been beaten one time. Will I be beaten 2 times? Will I be beaten 3 times? What's going to happen to Thurman in his career? I don't know, but that's why I'm here. That's why we're back in action, and I'm willing to find out.
All right, let's talk about that loss to Pacquiao. It's the last time we saw you, 2019, one of the fights of the year, big time pay-per-view event. That came through. That was a big deal. I'm one of those people at ringside who said, you know what? I think Keith Thurman won that fight 7 rounds to 5. I've argued it might be your best performance of your career. No disrespect to the Porter or Danny Garcia wins. Do you have that same optimistic outlook looking back? Yeah, you got dropped by one of the greatest of all time, but you were coming on in the second half of that fight. Is that a positive for you to look back on?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I just needed to convince one more judge. In retrospect, we've had tons of time to really reflect on that loss. And I think I was 15 punches away from victory. I think that the way Manny Pacquiao fights with his pity pat, similar to what we just saw in the Gary Russell Jr. fight. You can be a sharpshooter, you can do things, but when fighters let their hands go, even if they're not touching you completely, as long as they're just, it's judging, it's a judge, they're spectators too, we don't know. They don't tell you what kind of vision your judge has. You don't know if he got 20/20 vision. You don't know, if he got a blinking problem, maybe he blinks a lot in a fight, so at the end of the day, they're not looking at everything. They're speculating. And that's why Ben Getty always said, don't leave it up to the judges, man. So when you leave it up to the judges, you really got to perform for them. I performed a great performance for you. I performed a great performance for the fans and for many people, but I didn't convince the judges, and I fell short. And it hurt because I know that I'm capable. I showed my capacity, my capability. We can argue, without the knockdown, you win the fight. That's too easy to argue that. Let's bring the knockdown in, because the knockdown happened. You got to live with what happens. You got to go with the flow. You got to take the punches that are being thrown. So the knockdown happened. Okay. But then what does Thurman do? I get up with a smile and I walk him down. But when I started to walk him down, I didn't let my hands go. Right? I was walking him down. I was showing him how tough I was. I was trying to get him to throw punches, commit to a firefight, but he was already up on the judges' scorecards. He was a little too smart. He was a little too veteran at that age. He was like, you can put me under pressure, but you can't force me to fight because I'm winning, you're losing. And, eventually I woke up and said, let's show the world who Keith Thurman is and that I can come back from any situation. And then right in the last round, I kind of took my foot off the gas, and maybe that is what caused my my defeat, man. So at the end of the day, I know I was in the fight through and through to the final bell, ding, 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 to the final bell. And it was a great fight. I learned a lot of things that I already knew about the sport have just been more solidified in my consciousness that, if you want victory, these are the must-dos in boxing, especially if you're going to leave it up to the judges. So now we've been focusing on making sure that I can throw more punches, that my upper body conditioning, I always have good overall conditioning. I always have good leg movement, but, I needed 15 more punches. So this training camp is making sure that we definitely don't have a lack in punch stamina, and that, if you're going to take the risk, you take the risk, if I would have known that I was going to get defeated by a small margin ahead of time, then I would have gone ahead and took more bigger chances. I would have let them knock me down 2 times, 3 times, and I wouldn't have left it up to the judges. I would have just put my all into it. But because I didn't fully commit, I was left short. So there was so much to learn. There was so much to take away. And I'm looking forward to showing who I am today and not who I was. Thank you so much for your compliment of my performance. But Keith Thurman definitely does not believe that was his best performance. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that any of the fights that the fight fans have seen has actually ever been the best Keith Thurman. And if there's anything that I'm going to do, win, lose, or draw, what I want to present in the ring is the best and the greatest version of myself. No matter what the outcome is, I'm looking forward to doing that this year and the years to come for you, for the network, and for myself.
Love it. Love it. Hey, love to hear the passion that you have the right mindset. You're hungry. You're going after this. A lot of opportunities if you win this. And, you weren't bad, by the way. You're actually pretty damn good as a commentator. People really enjoyed seeing you and your old rival, Shawn Porter, get to mix it up behind the microphone. Do you have any comments about your old pal, Shawn Porter? A great career now behind him following the loss to Terrence Crawford. He dared to be great. He came up short. Now he's making that decision to walk away. How did you receive that news? Because I would have guessed you guys would have rematched if you had been healthy up to this point.
Yeah, I always thought that there would have been a rematch somewhere in our career line. Probably definitely the lack of me being healthy probably didn't allow that to manifest. From 2019 to the coming date after the Pacquiao fight, he fought Errol Spence, then he fought in studios with no fans, and then he fought Crawford. So, even through from the summer of 19 till up until recently, he's had 3 fights. And, he knows that he's fought all the big names in the welterweight division. He's climbed the ladder, fallen, climbed, and kept trying to get up, get his head above water because he wants that championship recognition. He's had a tremendous career. If he felt like he's done enough, then it is what it is. This is an individual sport, and you just have to let the fighter be the fighter. It's hard to walk away. It's hard to determine when's the right time, but it's something within yourself. Like I always talk about, my warrior spirit is active. He's good at commentating. I think he dresses a little too much. He dresses a little too much for TV. He could tone it down and make it more real business casual and just come in with the analytics. But at the end of the day, he's a great guy. I loved him in the amateurs. I loved him in the pros. I salute him in his retirement. I wish nothing but the best, happiness. I salute him for the battles. I salute him for being my rival and just everything that he brought to the welterweight division, how he's challenged so many great fighters. He won some, he lost some, and it is what it is, but just even hearing his retirement made me reflect that no matter how long I go, I'm closer to retiring now than I ever been in my professional career. True. Keith Thurman can fight for 3 more years, 6 more years. It doesn't really matter. I've been in this game for 26 years. I do not have 26 more, but I'm going to make the best out of it. And that's why I said I want to bring forward the best Keith Thurman before it's all said and done. Next chapter.
Can't wait.
Yeah, this next chapter, I want people to say, I didn't know he had more, but man, he proved me wrong.
PBC on Fox pay-per-view. Mario Barrios is the opponent. Saturday night, February 5th. In closing, Keith, long after you retire, when you got the grandkids bouncing on your knee, they're saying, Grandpa Keith, man, you used to be a contender, right? You're like, no, son, I was champion. Will you also say, and by the way, Floyd Mayweather ducked me. Let's be straight up honest. Floyd Mayweather kind of ducked me. Is that what you're going to be telling? Is that the story you believe at the end of the day?
I mean, it happened to me in my career. We know it. I was pretty much the day Keith Thurman became champion was the day Floyd Mayweather said, "I'm not fighting that man." Because I remember getting the phone call, and it was similar to this, but back then everybody wasn't doing video calls for interviews. It was very similar. They told me, "Hey, Keith, how does it feel to be champion of the world?" I said, "I don't know. What are you talking about?" They said, "You have now been elevated from the WBA interim champion to the WBA regular champion of the world." And Floyd Mayweather was elevated from regular to super champ. And I said, "What the heck is a super champ?" I know what an undisputed champion is. I know what a unified champion is. I never heard of a super champion. Never heard of that. Okay. Mike Tyson wasn't a super champ. Muhammad Ali wasn't a super champ. it sounded like a super fake belt to me. I said, what is this? They said, well, you're the regular champion now. And how does it feel? And I said, well, I guess it feels good. I've always wanted to be champion of the world. But, what's this term regular champ? I mean, isn't every champion like what's regular about being a world champion? Besides the fact that everyone is kind of a regular champion. It's like the word extraordinary is really extraordinary. It's like it was such a political play. At the end of the day, I had to do my research. We hung up the phone. I did my little interview. We hung up the phone, and I got on Google. I said, WBA super champion. Popped up. I read the first paragraph, and the first paragraph said the WBA super champion is not obligated to take mandatories. There is no mandatories. I said, okay, if there's no mandatories, that means I no longer am I in a powerful position like I once was, because I was Floyd Mayweather's mandatory, before Floyd, I had the mandatory position. Adrian Broner beat Paulie Malignaggi. Boom. Okay. There was times I wanted to fight Paulie. Paulie got beat by Adrian Broner. Now, maybe I'll fight Adrian Broner. But he goes to fight Marcos Maidana. Boom. Gets beat by Maidana. Maidana goes to fight Floyd Mayweather. Boom. Now Floyd Mayweather has the title. Then Maidana and Floyd do a rematch. Boom. Floyd still has the title. Then approximately 4 to 6 months later, I get a phone call and I'm elevated to the status of that title. And that made me obligated to fight mandatories where the super champ could finish out his career however he wanted to. Now, politically, I understand the play. Keith Thurman wasn't in his to-do list. He was towards the end of his career. He had it all mapped out. I understand why it happened. Doesn't mean that I liked it, but, I do appreciate bringing up that was just a factual thing.
Your boy happened. Berto got your money. He gave your money. He gave the money to Berto instead. But come on, the harvest came in.
But I love the fact that Berto got that fight because I know that Berto was supposed to get that fight. I believe back when he was supposed to fight Sugar Shane Mosley, and then after that he was most likely going to fight Floyd Mayweather. And then the earthquake happened in Haiti, and Berto went out to do a lot of outreach programs and stuff. So it was in his karma. He deserved a fight like that. Of course, for Floyd, there could have been other fights that could have been more exciting at the time. But I love my boy Berto, just like I love so many people in this sport. The warrior in me respects many warriors out there. And, it just is what it is, man. So it's a little fun fact of history. And like you said, we'll probably talk about it with the grandkids one day.
Keith Thurman, it's been great chat with you. The ponytail's gone. Hopefully the flute's still around, but more importantly, back in the ring, February 5th, PBC on Fox pay-per-view. Can't wait. Thanks for the time.
Thank you for all the support.